Sister Wives star Robyn Brown is usually depicted as a villain. Although the criticism is perhaps exaggerated, there are definite indications she's far from saintly, particularly in light of the recent sale of Coyote Pass. As per Instagram sources, Robyn has been behaving erratically. Apparently, she spent more than $70,000 on toys, including American Girl dolls. Although her husband Cody prefers to save for a rainy day, Robyn has said that she prefers to spend their money on making their lives better. That being said, considering Janelle's money woes, Robyn's actions make her somewhat like Marie Antoinette. Fairness must be noted here, though. Her excess isn't the only warning sign. Robyn, who at times is good-hearted, usually gets the villain edit because she doesn't always stand with Cody's ex-wives, Janelle, Mary, and Christine. She stepped into it with her statement about the core family. Why did she say it? When Robyn called her children with Cody the core family, yeah, it may have been her reality, but it sounded nasty. Pointing out that her kids are in the center and the others are left out was not needed and was painful. Referring to her children as the core family seems like the beginning of dispute. Robyn appears to be implying that her kids have more time, attention from Cody, and even more money possibly. Although she may say she's stating facts, to me it looks like an action taken out of insecurity. Instead of spotlighting the imbalance, it would have been more thoughtful to downplay it. After all, how are the other Brown kids supposed to feel? Peyton Brown, for one, already has issues with Cody. Talking about a core family doesn't help. It probably fuels the fire. So why is she doing it? Robyn's inner world, one that suddenly embraced monogamy, can sometimes come off as a bit of a mystery. She often appears driven by a desire to separate herself from the rest of the Brown wives and their children. When Cody took Janelle on what was supposed to be a first date, she ended up feeling hollow and unsure. Meanwhile, he was mocking Mary on camera, claiming he had to conceal his romantic tension from her. Did he honestly think she wasn't aware of the real dynamic? Just before selling Coyote Pass for $1.5 million, Cody paid a token $10 to exchange possession. For an instant, he became a gentleman. I was sincerely astounded at his generosity. He gave more of the land to Mary and Janelle. For years, they helped him and me when we needed it. I had long wanted him to do the same for them. Without their contribution, it wouldn't have been possible to purchase the $880,000 Coyote Pass ranch. Together, they had established a family. Through the redistribution of ownership prior to putting the property on the market, he eventually leveled the playing field. It was a time of justice, arguably his most respectable gesture in years. Surrendering 97% of the property caused me to reevaluate my opinion of him. I had concluded that Cody was a cranky man who hardly recognized any wives other than Robyn, but this act gave a glimpse of something better, and quite frankly, I was exhausted with despising him. The negativity had begun to thin out. Robyn, meanwhile, has taken shots at Cody's ex-wives. She's made her own mistakes, but she's also more nuanced than she appears. Robyn enjoys playing the sweet, humble thing, like a little soft kitten, but she can scratch too when she needs to. Those claws tend to remain concealed, but history indicates that when Robyn really shows her true colors, it tends to hurt other people. The wonderful Christine, on the other hand, has taken it as her life's work to transform everything, and truthfully, it's inspiring. After having gone through numerous challenges, she's become a cheerful, resilient, and vibrant person. Christine doesn't waste time moping or staying in the shadow of another person. She desires to live freely and make the most of life. And there's so much more to say. But Robyn's so-called core family. One of Robyn's throwaway comments mentioned Cody's ex-wife's weight gain and stretch marks. And to be honest, that really made me feel insecure, and I thought it was awfully rude. Why would anybody say something like that? It doesn't bring any good sharing those kinds of thoughts. Anything they do bring is hurt toward the other ladies. If one really loved him or herself, why would a person want to put others down so badly? No one doubted that Robyn already possessed Cody's affections. The others stood no chance of getting it back. Therefore, when she criticizes how they look, it speaks volumes of something sinister, something about herself that she likely needs to confront and repair. Each and every one of those women, Christine, Mary, Janelle, is lovely in her own unique way. They don't deserve to be judged by someone who evidently faked caring about them. When Robyn goes that low, she really does sound a bit crass. These types of low blows make me wonder about her self-confidence. If she felt safe, she wouldn't be comparing herself to the other women and determining they are not enough. A woman who understands her value would dwell on what she already possesses: the children, the dolls, the jewels, and her opulent house. By eliminating Cody's ex-wives, it's almost like she views them as competition, when in actuality, they never were. Robyn makes Cody entirely responsible for the marriage issues. Is it his fault entirely? We all have the right to our feelings, and Robyn's feelings are true, but I do get a little confused when she says that Cody attempted to sabotage their marriage. I mean, he's sacrificed so much for her. This man pulled away from 3 other wives, estranged them, for Robyn. He treats her like royalty, like a Disney princess. He showered her with attention and affection. When he had necklaces created for her and the other wives, he chose the phoenix, a symbol associated with Christ, to signify Robyn. To him, she's angel and queen. Perhaps some of his bitterness stems from guilt. Cody's faced heavy criticism for everything he's done in Robyn's name, and while he tries to brush it off, it's clear it weighs on him. Most of the time, he clearly feels remorse for the hurt he's caused. Like most people, Cody isn't all bad. He has many sides. So when he takes a moment to consider how bad things got in the Brown home, particularly when he's spending time with Robyn, it probably stimulates some underlying anxiety or even depression. The hidden feelings sometimes come out. Indeed, it's conceivable that Robyn has egged on some of the choices that made him one of reality TV's most reviled villains, especially within Sister Wives. When the series originally started, viewers were interested in things such as how the children felt about polygamy. As time went on, the focus turned to scandals such as Mary Brown's being catfished and why the breakups are supposed to be happening. Still, after all of that, the fans are still very interested in the kids and what their lives are like currently. With so much energy focused on Sister Wives-related controversies, like Mary believing that Cody wants her erased from the family, casual viewers may have missed just how stressed Janelle Brown has been. Season 19 of Sister Wives has made it pretty clear that Janelle is carrying a heavy emotional load, especially as she goes through another move. Fortunately, she recently spoke out about how she's been coping with the pressure in a way that's both surprising and actually quite inspiring. Whereas most reality shows start to get stale or repetitive after a few seasons because there isn't actually any real conflict, that's never been true of Sister Wives. In some way, the Brown family manages to create new ways to create drama season after season. For viewers, perhaps that constant strain would be engaging, but for the family, it's draining. All those years of public posturing have weighed on them in the end. Season 19 revealed just how much Janelle has had to endure, and thankfully, she shared that she's learned a way to cope with the strain. On the 26th of March, 2025, Janelle posted on Instagram and shared something intimate with us, a glance at how she's managing stress. "I've been really stressed out this week," she confessed, and what followed was a revelation that left fans with an eye-opening glimpse at how she's managing it all. "Because it's been so hectic," Janelle clarified. "But what I've learned is that sitting in an infrared sauna for 30 minutes is like hitting a reset button." As her post went on, Janelle described even further the advantages she's found from her sauna sessions. She included a wellness brand she's seemingly fond of and described how much she really likes the sensation it produces in her. For those wondering about how these sessions have affected her, her comments were well worth paying attention to, albeit to the slight degree that they detracted from Sister Wives talk. Interestingly, there was a People cover story back in March of 2025 reminding readers of Janelle and Cody having 6 children between them: Logan Brown, Madison Brush, Hunter Brown, Garrison Brown, Gabriel Brown, and Savannah Brown. Family ties endure despite changing relations. The most striking thing in Janelle's post was how honest she was about the way the infrared sauna affects her. Though she did admit there's science behind its use, she also characterized the benefits as mystical. "I know there's science," she wrote, but it feels like magic, helping me feel balanced again. Extra benefit? I sleep better. If you haven't tried it, I highly recommend it. It's interesting to watch Janelle put the experience into perspective with both reason and intuition.
Her combination of pragmatism and faith in the magic is a testament to who she is, a down-to-earth person, but willing to seek peace in the small things. What is also fascinating is that there is some actual research around the use of infrared saunas. Infrared saunas have experienced a huge surge in popularity, reports the National Library of Medicine. Searches for infrared sauna therapy grew 5 times between 2004 and 2023, according to Google Trends data. As of March 2025, the Mayo Clinic reported a story mentioning that several individuals like using infrared saunas since they trigger physical reactions equivalent to moderate exercise, such as extreme sweating and a heightened heart rate. Though science is not fully developed, there is preliminary evidence that the sessions may also ease stress, which is in agreement with what Janelle said. We're at the center of the emotional tempest that engulfed the Brown family. Robyn Brown. With Cody's other marriages falling apart, Robyn's influence and presence intensified, causing both curiosity and resentment on the part of both fans and family members. Among the family, Janelle Brown's makeover has been particularly heartbreaking. Whereas drama on Sister Wives typically concerns changing romantic relationships, Janelle's inner struggles are much deeper. The loss of her son Garrison Brown in early 2024 was a heartbreaking blow. Loss, particularly loss of a child, is something few can really grasp unless they've experienced it. This alone would be quite sufficient to break any individual. But Janelle's stress has not ended there. The legal and emotional struggles over Coyote Pass, a property that was once a symbol of the plural family's unity, weighed even more heavily on her shoulders. What was once a shared dream among the sister wives and Cody is now a symbol of broken promises and a fight for justice after a broken family. Furthermore, Janelle's decision to move on and begin anew, geographically and emotionally, was another giant hurdle. In an article featured in Screen Rant on December 2024, she cited her move as a dramatic turnaround in her life, taking a step towards independence after years of living in a dysfunctional family setup. Initially, Coyote Pass was intended to unite the Browns, where all the wives and their children could settle down and live together in harmony. But as emotional and relational IOUs accumulated, the land shifted from a collective sanctuary to contested ground. When it was finally sold, a dream was lost with it, and the resonance of discontent continues to be felt. This story of land, loyalty, and lost love is telling us something loudly, something that sister wives once offered as a glimpse into a polygamous, yet loving family, has now turned into a harrowing and at times agonizing look at what occurs when dreams big come crashing up against the human condition. Said in a moment of emotional insecurity or self-centeredness, hit home with fans and family members both. By calling her own kids the core family, Robyn Brown, accidentally or not, precipitated a stark dividing line between her household and the other branches of the formerly cohesive Brown family. This assertion did not merely express favoritism, it represented the agonizing disintegration of what had been offered as a spiritually centered, plural marriage based on shared values and equality. While other sister wives such as Christine, Mary, and Janelle made sacrifices, compromises, and kept their families intact through emotional and financial struggle, Robyn's behavior, both explicit and tacit, appeared to convey entitlement rather than partnership. For years, Robyn's family role had been seen by so many as either passive or helpful. But along the way, a different script started to appear, one where Robyn wasn't merely part of the family construct, but its strong creator. The audience might have perceived Cody as the one calling the shots, but behind the scenes, most viewers suspect that Robyn's subtle influence controlled many key moments, from resource allocation to Cody's growing distance from his other wives. The gossips about lavish expenditure on luxury goods and collectibles, widely spread and corroborated by social media leaks, only aggravated public distrust. While the other wives allegedly experienced delayed housing developments, budget woes, and emotional abandonment, Robyn's family seemed to do well materially, complete with personalized jewelry, luxuriously appointed rooms, and expensive hobbies. This imbalance in lifestyle and emotional support has become a hot button with viewers. In their eyes, it's not just a matter of different values, it's a blatant violation of trust and equity in what was otherwise a cooperative, spiritually guided model family. What is so polarizing about Robyn is not only her dynamic with Cody, but also the gap between her public speech and her lived experience.
On the one hand, she is constantly talking about unity, healing, and family. On the other, her behavior and its spillover effects speak louder than her words. Her perceived elitism and exclusivity of her own family structure have thrown a long shadow behind her words. The sale of Coyote Pass, what had been the epitome of family togetherness and collective aspiration, was a watershed. It was not merely land anymore, it was a broken dream, a tangible embodiment of potential unfulfilled. And at the center of it all is Robyn, not a villainess per se, but a woman who is misunderstood and, at moments, arguably privileged. The Sister Wives saga, originally a singular portal into plural marriage and communal existence, has transformed into a narrative of discord, suffering, and unpaid emotional wages. As the dust settles further, one reality becomes more certain. Influence may not always be boisterous, but it can be profound. And as it turns out, in the Browns' case, that influence has dictated the ascension and subsequent downfall of one of reality television's most sensationalized families. Members became impossible to ignore, with each woman slowly unpeeling the layers of her experience, some with sly interviews, some with sheer emotion and tears. The myth of an united, spiritually bonded, plural family began to unwind. And in the midst of this unraveling stood not merely Cody Brown, the formerly proud patriarch, but Robyn, whose subtle but steady actions and words seemed to tip the balance. Robyn's comment that her children were the core family didn't merely hurt, it encapsulated decades of emotional imbalance that the other wives had borne for so long. In polygamous culture, where equity and equal attention are everything, such a statement seemed to be a betrayal of the very basis on which their marriage stood. Whether or not Robyn intended it, the emotional consequence was genuine, not just for her sister wives, but for the children who felt suddenly less than in their father's eyes. This was more than a slip of the tongue. For some, it was the moment the illusion broke, the reminder that even though love may be shared theoretically, resources, attention, and emotional presence tend to be split unevenly in practice. Once envisioned as a communal sanctuary, the sale of Coyote Pass became a metaphor for broken dreams. Though Cody publicly claimed that former wives were given fair shares, whispers of backdoor deals, unequal payouts, and preferential treatment only intensified. Financial reports, tax returns, and astute observation by fans and reporters alike told a tale of imbalance. Who actually benefited from the land? Who emerged with emotional wounds and less assets? Though the surface was smooth for a fair division, many felt the deck was stacked, either by intention or by a deep-seated emotional prejudice. Whereas reality shows are infamous for editing footage to create drama, the plot lines that arose from Sister Wives were rooted in genuine feelings and genuine choices. Robyn has repeatedly declared she's misunderstood, misrepresented, or targeted, but audiences counter that her repeat behaviors of exclusivity Emotional neediness around Cody and undue control over significant decisions make her guilty until proven innocent. Former wives such as Christine and Janelle, who initially were devoted to making the family system work, increasingly spoke candidly, through interviews, confessionals, and Twitter feeds, about the emotional exhaustion, neglect, and push-pull nagging they suffered. These were not moments in time captured on film.